Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. In Tesla and EV land in China, they're making autonomous driving related OTA updates subject to regulatory approvals. This part of a push to keep automakers from using them to conceal defects and avoid liability. These software upgrades are also considered product recalls even in China. Those planning OTA upgrades to eliminate product defects and implement recalls should immediately stop the manufacture and sale of defective auto products. If changes to the main technical parameters are needed to fix the defects, automakers are required to obtain a license for the product change before resuming production. And the official reason why Tesla does not call it FSD in China, automakers are banned from naming and marketing driving assistance systems with hints to consumers that they're actually autonomous driving systems. They're also required to report to the industry ministry and the market regulator in case of driving assistance system failure or collisions and accidents. The main question becomes what qualifies as changes to the main technical parameters. As far as I can tell, it looks like that means anything that would alter the core performance, functionality, or safety characteristics of a vehicle. Think about things like the powertrain, the braking system, steering dynamics, and ADAS features. My point here, this formal process for Tesla to get this license for certain OTA updates, if they're significant enough, will be something to watch when it comes to the speed of Tesla's iteration of FSD in China. In practice, an example would be if Tesla found a defect in FSD that required adjusting the brake force parameters or something like that through the software, that could be considered a change to a main technical parameter, meaning Tesla would need to stop production, submit the update for approval, get that license, and then after all of that, they can resume production and push the update. Ray for Tesla shared some takeaways from a very well-known Chinese blogger and his experience with FSD. Context, this person is not really a fan of Tesla, but his view on FSD was fair according to Ray. And he said Tesla's Chinese version of FSD is quite significant. A few years ago, the government allowed Tesla to establish wholly owned production facilities in China, making it the world's first major catfish, or a disruptor that stimulates industry competition. Now, Tesla is no longer needed to play the role of a catfish in the NEV market. Chinese automakers already have the strongest self-driven innovation in the world without question. So we should acknowledge Tesla's role in fully activating China's NEV sector. By approving Tesla's localized FSD for China, the pressure will force automakers that are lagging in intelligent driving to either evolve or be eliminated, because this is undoubtedly the future of smart mobility. Tesla's FSD, while facing many issues in its first version, has managed to train itself under extremely challenging conditions. China does not allow local road data to be exported, and the US restricts high computing power training from being conducted in China. Yet, even under these constraints, the first version has reached this level. I even tested it on rural roads and it worked. I'd give it a solid 90 out of 100. Although this version is being scrutinized and criticized repeatedly, I believe by the second or third iteration around the summer, it will essentially reach a near full-fledged FSD for the current stage. At that point, we can fairly assess its level, and Tesla has the foundation and capability to make it happen. And to wrap, if this were a weak and spineless company with no hope of standing up, then sure, go ahead and bash it to the ground over one software version. But this is the world's #1 NEV company and the pioneer of intelligent driving. Recognizing industry trends with respect and awareness is far more important than simply mocking what's in front of us. Overall, we're getting closer and closer to level 4 autonomous driving. That's amazing.
哎，前面又来了一个车，哦，这个真的是没办法的呀！我靠，这也能会车？我靠，这个弯儿，我靠，能行吗？我靠，是这个弯儿，我靠，180度这弯儿，我靠，会车，转弯会车，我靠。
When it comes to the global rollout of FSD, you may have forgot September of last year, Elon said hopefully right-hand drive markets in late Q1 or early Q2, pending regulatory approval. One right-hand drive market is Australia, and some over there are getting excited about FSD. The upgrade page for this feature has been changed from full self-driving capability to full self-driving supervised. Not only that, but his Tesla account page now says full self-driving supervised, where previously it just said FSD package. So it's not a lot, but it's also not nothing. There is a world where in the next few weeks, maybe the next 1 to 3 months, we see FSD launch in another country, Australia. Remember, it's true, as far as we know, Tesla does not have regulatory approval for FSD in Australia, but we didn't have it for China either, and then without that reporting coming, FSD was launched in China. And again, as far as I can tell, there are no ADRs or Australian design rules that would limit them from getting FSD supervised. The investment firm Stifel put out some proprietary reporting on Tesla's demand. Stifel conducts its own surveys, and we don't know how many people were surveyed, but the results, the net favorability of Tesla has dropped to negative 15% from about 7% in February last year. Here's an example to explain this net favorability. If 40% of respondents view Tesla favorably and 37% view it unfavorably, the net favorability would be positive 3%. But back to Stifel's data, for Republicans, that figure increased to 27% from 11%. There's a clear negative shift from Democrats, while Republicans' willingness to buy a Tesla is rising. For net purchase consideration for Teslas among Democrats, that dropped to negative 42% compared to negative 31% in August, which is a negative 11% change, but for Republicans, it went up to negative 13%, down from negative 26% in August, which is an improvement of 13%. I wanted to share this data because Stifel has been putting this out now for years. It's not like it's brand new, and this does confirm there is an offsetting effect taking place. However, all of this means nothing. We just need to track the sales data, and we're not going to have a clear read on that until we get closer into the second half of this year. Another point, Stifel is very aware of this political landscape for Tesla, and they still have a Tesla price target of $474. I've also seen dozens of posts just like this one saying, "I love what Elon is doing, so much so we went and bought a new car to show our support." Just remember, Tesla's sales data is going to look very poor throughout all of Q1 and likely into Q2 until the changeover to the new Model Y is done. At the same time, we have Morgan Stanley's Adam Jonas reinstating Tesla as its top pick in US autos after the recent stock decline. He said lower car deliveries are emblematic of a company transitioning from a pure automotive play to a diversified AI and robotics play. His base case, PT, is still $430 and his bull case is $800. Jonas is also aware Tesla's deliveries in 2025 could decline year over year, creating an attractive entry point for investors. Jonas also views humanoid robotics as a multi-decade trillion-dollar opportunity with a faster adoption curve than autonomous vehicles, though it's not yet factored into his base case. If you're in Norway and you go to configure a Model X Plaid, you'll now see estimated deliveries between July and August of this year, when recently it was only 5 weeks. If I had to guess, I would say this has more to do with the upcoming refresh scheduled for later this year than it does any sort of demand spike for this specific vehicle in that market. This could be early retooling, it could be a supply chain hiccup as the Model X Plaid has the tri-motor setup. So for now, we don't know for sure, but we'll see if this trend continues in other countries in the weeks ahead. I know, as fans of Tesla and science, we love data, and some of you guys liked this last time, so I'll stick with it again. A recent study on the effect of spirulina on PubMed showed that spirulina intake decreases blood pressure and could be used in clinical practice. A separate study on PubMed on supplementing with chlorella showed it improves total cholesterol levels, LDL, systolic blood pressure, and fasting blood glucose. One more on beetroot supplementation showed it's being considered as a promising therapeutic treatment in a range of pathologies associated with oxidative stress and inflammation. And what do you know? As part of AG1's proprietary superfood complex that's been developed over the past decade, you'll find organic spirulina, organic chlorella, and beetroot powder. AG1 is the sponsor of this video, but let my message be to feed your body well and go get some labs done to see where you may be lacking. But as a general purpose way to hit your daily intake of key nutrients like vitamin C, E, B, zinc, and 70 others, AG1 is a great option to do so. They test rigorously and publicly, they source well from whole food ingredients, they don't cut corners, and Huberman, Attia, and Friedman, in my opinion, would not put their names behind just any product. As I've said, even if you eat well, there's a chance you're missing out on key nutrients. I prefer to make mine after breakfast and I sip it throughout the afternoon into the evening, and it does not keep me up at all. I think it tastes good as is, and it keeps me from having a cupboard full of individual pills that would end up costing me hundreds of dollars every month. So if you'd like to try it for yourself and see why 97% of participants felt more energy after 30 days, you can head to drinkag1.com/electrified linked below, or you can use my QR code on the screen. Enjoy. S.C. Robinson Jr. shared this video footage of a Tesla Semi doing some testing in Alaska, one that has a flatter roof on the semi body. Dan Priestley clarified the roof height variance is independent of the range variance, meaning it's not flat or not depending on whether it's long haul or short haul. The one in the video is a long-range semi, just with a shorter roof meant for lower profile trailers like flatbeds, drop decks, tankers, etc. Better aero for those setups. It's also easier to transport the truck to and from test sites. GVEC in Texas just announced a landmark partnership with Tesla. With this, GVEC becomes the first cooperative in Texas to participate with Tesla as a utility-scale virtual power plant resource. GVEC delivers electricity, internet, AC and heating, solar and battery, and electrician services, and they currently serve over 130,000 customers. Since 2019, GVEC has been a certified installer of Tesla battery systems. The president of the GVEC board said consumer-generated energy is quickly becoming an important resource for the Texas wholesale electricity market. There will be different rebates available for customers that opt into this program as an incentive. This now means GVEC Powerwall members can now support the needs of the Texas grid while also creating a new revenue stream. This pilot program has already registered about 17 megawatts of generation from Tesla Powerwall customers. They may limit the size of this pilot as they do some testing, but in the years ahead, this program could easily go from 17 megawatts to over 100 megawatts, growing by an order of magnitude. Not only do these partnerships result in more Tesla Powerwall sales, but Tesla also receives participation fees from the consumers via credits, all of which should help to boost Tesla Energy's profitability and, of course, stabilize the grid in Texas. As Marco shared, a new supercharger is coming to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but this one is newsworthy because of the 16 stalls that it will have, it's going to convert 8 existing gas pumps. So this Wawa station on Sunrise Boulevard will be dropping some gas pumps and replacing them with Tesla superchargers. Tesla has finalized the location for its showroom in India. The first one will be BKC, or Mumbai's Bandra Kurla complex, and the second location will be in Delhi's Aero City complex. Tesla is likely to commence sales of its EVs in the third quarter of this year, starting with 3 major Indian cities, Bengaluru, Delhi, and Mumbai. Reports are saying the initial batch of Tesla cars will be a few thousand units, and that Tesla will initially import EVs from Berlin. But that would be before potentially localizing production in the forthcoming years. The one bit I'm confused on, they said Tesla is said to target a price of under $25,000 for the first Tesla car in the country. For now, I would say there is at least a chance that Tesla starts sales in India with their more affordable vehicles, you know, the ones that we still know very little about. Tesla has ended sales of the Launch series in China, so now we have the Tesla has now ended sales of the Launch series in China. Now we have the wait time for the rear-wheel drive variant at 2 to 4 weeks and the long-range all-wheel drive variant at 6 to 10 weeks. This image was was shared on Reddit, which could be one of the first sightings of the new Tesla Model Y performance, as this photo was taken close to Tesla in Palo Alto. John Ehrlichman shared a post about expected profit growth over the next 5 years, to which Elon said it will require outstanding execution, but I think more like 1000% gain for Tesla in 5 years is possible. Which is quite encouraging because if you do the math, Tesla's net income gap was about $8.4 billion for 2024, and 1000% growth would mean that by roughly 2029, Tesla's GAAP net income would be in the neighborhood of $92 billion. To use a simple multiple, right now, Tesla's market cap is about $915 billion. So if you divide that by Tesla's profit in 2024 of $8.4 billion, that's a multiple of 108. But let's just say that by the time Tesla's net income grows to over $90 billion, maybe they won't have a multiple of 108. Maybe it's just 50. In that event, Tesla's market cap would still be in the neighborhood of $4.6 trillion, even with a multiple of 50. So yeah, as we've been saying, if you can just hold tight until the end of the 2020s, you should likely be sitting pretty, not financial advice. On the Tesla Motors Club forum, some users are reporting that deliveries of the new Model Y in the US have officially begun. On that note, Sawyer and a few others have been invited to a Tesla event for the new Model Y handoff on March 8th at Giga Texas. I have not yet seen anything about this event being live streamed, but maybe we get some footage from some of the attendees. The head of Polestar sales in the US said this week we saw some of the highest order days for the Polestar 3, and the response to our Tesla Conquest offer has been incredible. They did not share any numbers, but honestly, in their defense, it's a decent move given everything going on with Tesla's brand right now. And let's be honest, Polestar needs all of the help that it can get. If you're growing tired of all of the anti-Tesla and Elon hate right now, I totally understand. I just want to say, hang in there. This season too shall pass. It is very frustrating, and I know it feels like this is happening constantly all over the world, but it's really just maybe a few dozen anecdotes that are being reported by the mainstream media. So listen, again, I am not saying this is not having an impact on Tesla sales at all, because it definitely is. It's just not a structural problem that's going to last forever. As long as Tesla rolls out some more affordable vehicles and executes on the new Model Y changeover, continues to roll out FSD globally, and continues to make progress with Optimus and everything else going on, Tesla will be just fine. On this supercharger fire, Tesla said no customers were charging at the time of the fire. The post and wire will be replaced in under 48 hours. It's critical infrastructure for EV drivers. Arson investigation ongoing with the Littleton PD. BYD is now looking to raise $5.2 billion. It's planning to use the proceeds for R&D, expanding its overseas business, and supplementing its working capital. The markets today did not respond kindly to Trump saying that the 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico will go ahead starting tomorrow, March 4th. During Trump's first term, the 10% tariffs were highly disruptive, and now they're saying 25% tariffs will be highly destructive. I did want to add some context. I got called out for not adding the first time. There is far less fentanyl and far fewer border crossings coming from Canada. That's relative to Mexico, so I just wanted to make that clear. Analysts are already saying that thanks to the expected increase in the price of aluminum, the cost of making an F-150 could go up by $3,000. Jim Farley just said a 25% tariff across the Mexico and Canadian border will blow a hole in the US industry that we have never seen. Canada also faces a global 25% tariff on steel and aluminum. Canada is the largest foreign supplier of both materials to the US. And Trump has said those tariffs will be stacked on top of this new 25% tariff. In short, this will definitely hurt Tesla's competition much more than it will hurt Tesla, given how localized Tesla's production is in the US. However, Tesla still sources about 20 to 25% of the components for Tesla's newer vehicles from Mexico. Vaibhav warned us on the Q4 call the imposition of tariffs will have an impact on our business and profitability. And then long term, if these tariffs were to stay in place, I do think that means Giga Mexico would now be fully in question. Elon said summer of last year it does not make sense to invest a lot in Mexico if that, meaning tariffs, is going to be the case. And finally, we'll have to wait and see what happens with retaliatory tariffs, because if Canada were to do that, then yes, Tesla sending cars from the US to Canada would take a significant hit. It's not a huge number, maybe between 30 and 50,000 per year, but it's not nothing. And Mexico provides about 15% of the parts for the Model Y. This will cause a disruption to Tesla's supply chain in the near term, but we know Tesla is the most adaptable and agile company in the auto business, at least if you exclude the Chinese. So yes, Tesla's profitability will likely take a hit, but it's going to be much less significant than Tesla's competition, so relatively speaking, this could actually improve Tesla's competitive positioning. Trump also said today that he signed an executive order to raise tariffs on China to 20%. We do need to wait a little bit to let the dust settle and see if this is another negotiating tactic, but right now Trump is saying there's no room left for Mexico or for Canada. Nope, the tariffs, they're all set. They go into effect tomorrow. Alexandra asked if there was any way in a future software update to have an audible alarm to protect your car from getting keyed. To which Elon said the car could honk at people if you want, which I think yes, we would all want at least something. Even better, a sound that we could customize. A future Apple software update will have support for NACS in Apple Maps for EVs. Tesla stock closed the day at $284.65, down 2.84%, while the Nasdaq was down 2.64%. It was a higher volume day, trading about 46% above the average. Don't forget, check out AG1 linked below for those interested, and as always, thank you for supporting the channel in this way. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did. You can find me on X linked below, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.